Chapter 300. Thousand Blade Valley. Strange. What is so odd about this pool of water? Little Gold, what happened to you just now? Kang Chon looked at the water pool again and frowned. It's hot. Little Gold skimmed his mouth. With an indignant look, he said with palpitations. This pool of water doesn't seem to have much temperature on the surface. But in reality, the temperature is frighteningly high. I was almost boiled. With such a high temperature. Kang Chon was instantly surprised at his words. Brother, if you don't believe me, go down and take a look. Xiao Jin heatedly laughed. He also wanted to see Kang Chon's joke. Just go down, humph. Kang Chon glared at him. Then jumped down. Since Xiao Jin was fine, what was he afraid of? He couldn't let Xiao Jin underestimate himself. Wow. Kang Chon was not as reckless as Xiao Jin, but slowly approached the pool of water. Just as he went down, Kang Chon could not help but suck in a breath of cool air. The temperature of the pool of water was indeed very high. A hot stream of fire flowed as if it had drilled into his flesh, spreading all over his body, causing him to feel as if he was being cooked. No, this pool of water. Suddenly, Kang Chon's face changed, and a light of excitement penetrated his eyes. Although the temperature of the pool water was very high, but in the midst of this pain, he felt that his flesh was slowly strengthening. This change was very small, but it was still discovered by him. This is precious water. Not only can it accelerate the cultivation of the 9-turn Zhuan technique, it can also enhance the strength of the physical body. Excitement flashed in Kang Chon's eyes. He finally understood why his second senior brother had been living here, and why his third senior brother envied his second senior brother. In a place like this, it was definitely possible to quickly raise the 9-turn Zhuan Gong and the strength of the fleshly body. However, while this boosted the level of the physical body, the damage caused by that high temperature was not something that could be resisted by anyone, and one would need to have at least a treasure artifact level physical body in order to resist it. In the crimson water pool, Kang Chon and Little Gold were lying inside, feeling the scorching temperature of the pool water, sweat dripping from their foreheads. However, their eyes were very determined as they clenched their teeth and persisted. The pool water was calm and wave-free, but the temperature was frighteningly high, even more so than those tumbling magma around the water pool. But in a few moments' time, Kang Chon and Little Gold's skin was incomparably red, as if they were being roasted. But while enduring this kind of pain, Kang Chon and Little Gold were delighted to discover that their fleshly bodies were rapidly improving. That speed was much faster than if they had cultivated on their own. Kang Chon immediately revolved his 9 revolutions Zhuan Gong, and with the efficacy of the pool water, he prepared to sprint to the peak of the 4th layer of the 9 revolutions Zhuan Gong realm. The efficacy of the pool water was much stronger than he had imagined, and after 7 days, he broke through to the peak 4th layer realm, his flesh strength reaching a new level, already infinitely close to the medium-grade treasure weapon level. Brother, I can't hold on any longer. Just as Kang Chon's 9 revolutions, Zhuan Gong broke through to the peak of the 4th layer. Xiao Jin on the side said with a face full of pain, his skin smoldering. His entire person looked as if he had been barbecued by a blazing fire. He looked woefully out of shape. Quickly get out, don't force it. Kang Chon was startled and hurriedly grabbed Little Jin and threw him towards the outside of the volcano. Little Gold also took advantage of the situation to rise up in the air and go out of the crater, and then meditated not far from the volcano to recover from his fleshly injuries. Master said that my current strength can only last for a month, but is that really the case? After sending Little Gold away, Kang Chon once again resumed his cultivation, his eyes translucent with a hint of confidence, his mouth softly whispering. Having broken through to the peak of the 4th layer of the realm, his fleshly body was even stronger, able to better withstand the high temperature of the pool water. At this moment, the purple Kang Chon hegemony blood in his body was constantly rolling and rushing. flowing through a thick meridian and nourishing his entire body. The cyan hegemony blood contained two kinds of power. One was full of offensive power, and the other was full of vibrant life power. Back when he was in the spirit-sealing Space Force God's Hall, he had seen the Force God split his blood into two, with the purple half drop of blood being full of aggressiveness, and the other half drop of silver blood being full of vitality. Perhaps it was because of the fusion of these two different types of blood that made his cyan hegemony blood have two powerful functions. Now, under the high temperature of the pool water, the life force in cyan's hegemonic blood came into play, as he continued to repair his flesh that had been burnt by the high temperature of the pool water, helping cyan to hold on for a longer period of time. Because of this life force, cyan had been holding out in the pool water for 3 months before he went out to get some air. During this period, Little Gold also came to cultivate once every half a month, and his strength grew rapidly, and he was about to break through the 6th level of the ushering stage. cyan's cultivation had also risen quickly, but because his cultivation was so high, the increase was not so obvious at this time. He was still at the 8th layer of the ushering stage, just close to the middle of the 8th layer. However, his physical body was improving very quickly, and he was already close to the middle grade treasure weapon. Just that last step was always unable to break through, making him very depressed. Moreover, as the time they spent cultivating in the pool water grew, they felt that the efficacy of the pool water was not as obvious as it was at the beginning, and had dropped a lot. Perhaps it's because our strength has increased a lot, making the efficacy of this pool water to enhance the physical body not so obvious. cyan whispered as he lay in the middle of the pool of water. He felt that, as their fleshly bodies strengthened, the efficacy of this pool water was not as obvious as it was in the beginning, and frequently soaking in the pool water made their fleshly bodies strengthen their immunity as well. It seems like it's time to head to the battlefield of righteousness and demons. cyan's eyes flashed with purple light as he slowly stood up, then rose up in the air and exited the volcano. Brother, it's only been a month since you went in this time. Why did you come out? Outside the volcano, Little Gold couldn't help but be filled with doubt when he saw cyan come out. He remembered that cyan had been able to hold out for a full 3 months, and this time he had only been in for a month. So how did he suddenly come out? Looking at Little Gold, who was full of doubts, cyan smiled and said, "My 9-turn Zhuang Gong has reached a bottleneck, and I won't be able to make a breakthrough even if I continue to cultivate, so it's time to head to the battlefield of the righteous devil." Positive demon battlefield. Little Gold froze at the words. Then a scorching light flashed in his eyes as he said with a face full of excitement, "Finally, I can go to the orthodox demon battlefield. Hey, I heard that Guy Zhao Wuji is very powerful in the orthodox demon battlefield. You will definitely surpass him, brother." Zhao Wuji. Thinking of Zhao Wuji, the battle intent in cyan's eyes skyrocketed, and his eyes blazed. Nowadays, Zhao Wuji was well known in the Heavenly Dao sect, and some people were already saying that he was the future Sun King. And cyan had also heard that Zhao Wuji's battle record was very formidable. In the battlefield of the righteous devils, so far undefeated, the strongest devils that he had encountered all died under his fists. On top of that, Dai wasn't far behind, and was neck and neck with Zhao Wuji. These two are now the most popular true disciples amongst the true disciples of the Heavenly Dao sect. Even the fame of some of the older true disciples had been overshadowed by them. Almost every day, news of them came into the Heavenly Dao sect, and that one formidable battle record made all the Heavenly Dao sect disciples admire them. The battlefield of the righteous devil. Phew, I'm here. cyan narrowed his eyes, and within his blade-like gaze, there was an incomparable confidence. He then went to say goodbye to the law enforcement elders with Little Gold. and then picked up the intersect mission of the Orthodox Demon battlefield in the mission hall, before moving to Star Peak. The Orthodox Devil battlefield was located at the junction of the Orthodox and Devil paths in the Flood continent. It was a peculiar space that was on top of the Flood continent, but was independent of it. The Flood continent was vast and boundless, so if one were to fly to the Orthodox Demon battlefield, it would take more than 10 years at the very least. So the disciples of the Heavenly Tao sect who traveled to the Orthodox Demon battlefield went through the Star Peak's teleportation array. This was a very important teleportation array. The one guard in this place was a harmonization stage sealed elder. As he watched Kang Chon and Little Gold arrive, his gaze fell on Kang Chon, and he revealed a hint of a smile. Newly admitted disciple of law enforcement. Oh, go on. Don't disgrace your law enforcement lineage. HMPH. Kang Chon nodded confidently, and then he and Little Gold stepped into the teleportation array, disappearing in a burst of blazing light. That sealed elder watched Kang Chon and Little Gold leave, a glint of anticipation surfacing in his eyes as he softly said, "Kang Chon hegemony blood. Hair, the legendary forbidden bloodline, really looking forward to it." The light dispersed and the teleportation array returned to calm. Only Kang Chon and Little Gold's figures had disappeared. Thousand Blade Valley, the Heavenly Tao sect base in the Orthodox Demon battlefield, with the War Elder personally in charge here. Within the huge Blade Valley, houses and palaces stood in abundance, and in its central roof, a golden-colored palace hung in the air, exuding an intimidating might. Many of the Heavenly Tao sect disciples in the Valley of Knives looked at the golden palace in the sky above their heads, all revealing looks of respect and admiration, because the War Elder lived there. In a corner of the Blade Valley, a teleportation array suddenly erupted with a blinding light, in which two figures loomed. Two more inner disciples have come from our Heavenly Tao sect. The one called Li Chonjiao was very powerful last time. I wonder how he is this time. I heard that Li Chonjiao is the personal disciple of one of the sect's sealed elders. His talent is very high. He is already invincible at the Yuanying stage. His strength is comparable to the late Outblood stage. You don't think that these two also have the same strength as Li Chonjiao? How could that be? That kind of genius is very rare. Even our Heaven's Path sect doesn't have many of them. It would be good for these two to be able to seal the king at the Yuanying stage. Around the teleportation array, dozens of Heaven's Path sect disciples were talking, all of them curiously sizing up the teleportation array. The two people who were about to appear. These people were all returning from the battlefield ahead to resupply and rest for a while in the meantime. After all, the Orthodox and demonic battlefield was full of crises, and their lives were in danger at any time, anywhere. This was also the important role of the existence of the Heavenly Tao sect space. Swish, soon, the light of the teleportation array disappeared, and Kang Chon and Little Gold walked out from within. TSK, Yuanying stage 8th layer, Yuanying stage 5th layer. This kind of cultivation of less than Yuanying stage 9th layer dares to come to the Orthodox Demon battlefield. It's either a genius or a fool. The surrounding crowd were all experts at the Yuanying stage or above, and immediately saw the cultivation levels of Kang Chon and Xiaojin, and immediately shook their heads and laughed. In the Heavenly Tao sect, inner disciples usually cultivated to the peak of the 9th level of the Yuanying stage before coming to the Orthodox Demon battlefield. After all, any random person in the Orthodox battlefield was at the Yuanying stage, so if their cultivation was not enough, they would die a miserable death. Of course, some geniuses were excluded, because those geniuses, although they didn't have enough cultivation, were superbly talented and could kill their enemies over the levels, and their strength couldn't be measured by their cultivation. Brother, is this the Orthodox battlefield? What a thick aura, much thicker than our heavenly Tao sect. No wonder everyone wants to come to the orthodox demon battlefield. Little Jin felt the thick aura around him and said with a face full of excitement. Kang Qian surveyed the surroundings and frowned. At the moment, a group of heavenly Tao sect disciples were surrounding him, making him feel bad. Get out of the way! Get out of the way! Where are the two newcomers? Just as Kang Qian frowned, not far away, a middle-aged man in golden armor came striding in. He exuded a powerful pressure, causing all the surrounding inner disciples to actively get out of the way. Out-of-body stage. Kang Qian's eyes stared. This was an out-of-body stage powerhouse. He should be a true disciple of the heavenly Tao sect.